Hello chess friends and welcome back to a new video. Friends, today we are going to see a game played between Vishy Anand and Nepomninatchi in the Tata Steel Grand Chess Tour. And friends, Vishy Anand was playing with the white pieces and Nepomninatchi was playing with the black pieces. We have c4, e5, g3, knight to f6 and bishop to g2. Bishop to c5 and knight to c3. Friends, till now everything is going according to the theory. Now the plan is to play knight to a4 and to play knight to b5 later on in the game. We have pawn to c6, avoiding knight to the b5 square and also knight to the d5 square in the future. We have knight to f3, a normal development, and now pawn to e4. Friends, this clearly states that Nepomninatchi is going to play very aggressively in this game because now he is attacking on white's knight, and friends, also the f2 pawn can be under serious attack if the knight goes to some defensive squares like the g1 square. There can be some serious threats like knight to the g4 square and many more. So over here knight to h4 was chosen by Vishy Anand. Friends, the main point of playing knight to h4 is to play knight to f5 and then knight to the e3 square if needed. Also, the knight on the h4 square does a very secret thing, and that we will understand it later. We have pawn to d5, bringing all the pieces on the central squares, and now black has an amazing pawn in the center of the board which can give black a lot of advantage. We have now pawn to d4. Over here n% could have happened, but over here Nepomninatchi went for bishop to e7. Friends, if there was an n% happened on the board, then white would simply take with the e pawn or with the queen. But white would also have an option to take the d pawn first, and when black will capture it back, after a series of exchanges, white can recapture the pawn on the d3 square with his queen, and the position is clearly favoring white because most of his pieces are developed. The d5 pawn is under serious attack, castling, and bishop to f4, and then rook to d1 is coming, and there are a lot of serious threats. So going behind after pawn to d4, bishop to e7 was chosen by Nepomninatchi. We have c takes on d5, c takes on d5, and now both the sides castled. Friends, now this is where the main motive of the knights comes into action. We have pawn to f3. Friends, this clearly states that this knight is now going to be very effective on the e5 and on the g7 square. And friends, because of this knight only, Vishy Anand was able to dominate this game. We have e takes on f3 and now rook takes on f3. Friends, now the plan is to simply play bishop to g5 or to play bishop to f4. Then later on we can play pawn to h3, g4, and then we can simply play knight to f5, and there are many serious threats and attacks coming on the black's king. So now knight to c6 was chosen by Nepomninatchi. We have knight to f5 and now knight to e4. Friends, I didn't actually like this move, knight to the e4 square. Friends, I would like to consider bishop takes on f5, and after rook takes on f5, the knight which was attacking on the g7 square is now not there, and this position is kind of handleable by the black player. But this was not played in the game. After knight to f5, we have knight to e4. Nepomninatchi thought that he could free up this big long f file and bring his knight onto the central square. We have rook back to the f1 square, and friends, this is a very amazing move because friends, this is the best move in this position. Friends, because now the main threat is that the rook is actually doing nothing on the square. Yes friends, and now the rook must go back and defend the king side. And friends, now if knight takes on e7 is played, which was the best move over here according to the engine, and after knight takes on e7, we could simply play rook to f4, and the position would be in a little of favor of black, in the favor of white, because now pawn to e3 is coming, and after queen to the g4 and after queen to the g4 square, there would be a lot of attacks on the black king. So this was a good continuation from knight to e4, but rook to f1 was played in the game. We have bishop to f6, e3, knight takes on c3, and we have a small exchange of knight on the c3 square. Friends, now there is another amazing bishop coming out in the game, that now the bishop can come onto the a3 square, and now the f8 square will be gone from the black player's hands. only if the bishop is able to come on the e7 square, the f8 square can be protected. And friends, the f8 square was the main square in the game, and why it you will understand it later. We have bishop to e6, rook to b1, attacking on the b7 pawn. And friends, now Anand is playing on both of the sides. Friends, Anand has understood that now there is no much scope on the king side, so now he must attack on the queen side. And friends, now Anand will look for some disadvantage in his opponent's position, and he will try to attack on that. Now currently the b7 pawn is under attack, so he will try to bring more pressure on it. You have queen to d7, protecting the b7 pawn, and as well as attacking on the knight. Friends, playing queen to d7 was a blunder of the game, because now it allowed the amazing move pawn to e4. Yes, you can still capture the knight, which should have played in the game, and after rook takes on f5, the position would be clearly equal, and this game could have been managed easily by Ian Nepomninatchi. But this was not played in the game. Instead, we have rook f to e8, which was another big blunder, because now it allowed an amazing knight sacrifice. Can you guess it, friends? Yes, it's knight to h6 square, and brilliant and a brutal knight sacrifice, as you can see in the thumbnail of this video. We have king to h8, as taking the knight would not be that good, because now we can play simply rook takes on f6, and now the h pawn can't be defended. There are also many threats like queen to g4, and the king would be under serious trouble and attack. So this was not played in the game. We have king to h8, and now another rook sacrifice. Rook takes on f6, and now if the rook is taken, this position would be in a clear winning position for white. And now what will he play? Can you guess it? Yes, queen to the f3 square, which was indeed played in the game. And friends, now this bishop's diagonal is fully open, and now also the f6 pawn is under attack. And how will you save the f6 pawn? You could probably play your queen to the e7 square, or play king to g7. We will think all of that variations. So king to g7 was played in the game, and it was met with e takes on d5. And after bishop takes on d5 and knight to f5 check, Ian Nepomninatchi simply resigned the game in this position. Why did he resign? We will come to that point later. But we will first see that how can we defend the pawn. First, we have seen that after king to g7 what will happen. Now we will see that what will happen if queen to e7 is played in the game. Friends, if queen to e7 is played in the game, then this position would not be in a situation of playing, because after queen to the e7 square, now Viswanathan Anand can release his deadly move. Can you guess it, friends? Yes, it's bishop to a3. What an amazing move. And friends, as told before, this f8 square is going to play an amazing role in the game. And now, as I had said before, my words are coming true. And friends, the bishop on the a3 square deflects the queen from the f6 square. And if you take the bishop, this position is going to be in a very bad condition when after queen to f6 it will be an amazing checkmate, as there is a check on the king, and the king can't escape from any of these squares, and it is an amazing checkmate. So friends, Anand used a nice tactic of deflection in this game, and after king to g7 at the ending position, why is this game losing? Friends, this game is a clear losing game, because now the king must come outside on the g6 square, which would lead in a clear winning position for Anand. For example, after queen to g6 check, it's a mate in one after queen to g4. So the king must go behind on the f8, g8 or on the h8 squares. Going on the f8 square would not lead in a good position, because now there is bishop to h6 check. Friends, in this position bishop to a3 check could also be an option, but playing bishop to h6 check wins more faster. So going behind, the king can also go to the g8 and to the h8 square. Now if the king goes to the g8 square, there is a very interesting continuation over here. Queen to g4, and there is a mate in 2. And if the king goes to the h8 square first, then there is another amazing continuation over here. We will simply grab the bishop on the d5 square, and after the ending position we can see that we have a knight for a knight. But friends, if we look, then for a rook we have a rook, but for another rook we have two bishops, which is clearly favoring white, and also the king is not in a good position, and also now bishop to h6 is coming, and now there can be a checkmate on the g7 square coming up very soon. So friends, we can learn a lot from this game. Anand used the technique of deflection in this game, and friends, I especially like the continuation after queen to e7 and bishop to a3. I really like this bishop to a3 move. Friends, I know that you also have liked this move, and if you also like this move, then I know that you also have liked this and enjoyed this video. So if you have enjoyed this video, then you just have to do one thing. You have to scroll below the video and you can see a big like button over there. You have to simply press it, and also you will find a red subscribe button. You can also click on it and also turn on the notifications bell, so that you will be the first one to know when we upload a video. We will be covering more such topics, interesting chess games and videos, and yes, we will be making more such videos like this. Friends, and you must be thinking that why I had not uploaded a video in YouTube very soon. So friends, I had not uploaded a video in YouTube lately. It is because I was preparing this new overlay and I had to prepare for more upcoming chess streams. And yes, also we are going to make such more amazing videos, and yes, we also made this new and amazing overlay, and I hope that you all have enjoyed it. So friends, if you have enjoyed today's game and today's video, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. And yes friends, we also have made a new website of Innovative Games channel. So if you want to check it out, then the link will be given in the description box of this video. Be sure to check it out. So we'll meet in the next video very soon. Till then, stay tuned and have a great day.